Hey guys, we're going to continue with the complete chess workout video now, and this is actually my second attempt at the video because I ended up having a snafu a few puzzles in, so we're recording. So anyway, I just feel like praying, so we're going to start with prayer. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Remember, O most gracious Virgin Mary, that never was it known that anyone who fled to thy protection, implored thy help, or sought thy intercession was left unaided. Inspired by this confidence, I fly unto thee, O Virgin of Virgins, my mother. To thee do I come, before thee I stand, sinful and sorrowful. O Mother of the Word incarnate, despise not my petitions, but in thy mercy hear and answer me. Amen. The Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. All right, so here's where we left off. So I already did this puzzle once, so feel free to pause if you want to just try to solve this puzzle with no help. But if you want some help, here's some help. The key idea for this puzzle is looking at all of the convergences of the geometry, right? What do I mean by the convergences of geometry? Sorry, I'm being fancy with my words. What are all the pieces hitting, right? You notice that there are a lot of pieces hitting a certain point, right? This is hitting F7. This is hitting F7. This is hitting F7. The king's hitting F7. The knight is potentially hitting F7. And if the knight's hitting F7, then the knight is also hitting E4. All of this is very, very important to note for this puzzle. That should be a lot of help for you. If you want to solve it now, feel free to pause, and then we'll move on. So what does white want? Well, if you'll notice, white's already up a piece, right? This is the end game. You want to simplify, right? You want to, if you could get these pieces off the board, it should be easier to win, and it takes away what we call counterplay. It takes away black's winning chances or drawing chances, right? So the solution is super simple. You just check, okay? Now, what can black do? If black tries to just get away, right, for some bizarre reason, then you win the rook, and now it's even easier to win, right? But more than likely, right, he's going to retreat, right? I mean, he could do this, right, and still retreat, but again, that's worse because this is check, right? And then you win the queen, right? Like this is terrible. So no, what is he going to do? He's going to play rook takes F7, rook takes F7, sack, right? Why sack? Because you're sacking into this beautiful trade, right? I mean, yes, it's possible for him to flee. I mean, and if he flees, then okay, you're up a pawn. No big deal, right? Then you just, at that point, I say, okay, check, force the king down, and now, you've got some pretty nasty stuff. I mean, this king is now woefully in the corner, and you can really try to force something awful here, because you can play a move like this, which threatens mate in one, which forces him to exchange queens, right? So if you don't see that, right, because if the queen tries to move off of it, right, then let's say the queen just tries to get off this, maybe to go here to threaten mate in two, right? Well, no time for mate in two because mate in one, right? So in this position, forces the exchange, right? The king may try to do something fancy with this, but there's simply not enough time, right? Because after push, I mean, you can go here, but quite frankly, you don't even have to. You could ignore it if you wanted to. I mean, if you wanted to, you could just take it. I mean, because sure he can just take it, but what do you care, right? I mean, like you're queening and you're winning, right? Like there's no big deal. So what is going to happen? What's going to happen is take, and then skadoosh, right? To quote Jack Black, right? So this is the fork, and he's going to come down, and then you've got this beautiful check. And now, you can just sit with the blockade, right? Super simple. If you wanted to, you can just defend the knight. Now this knight is in this really wonderful, powerful square, and you can just push the pawn. The king will have to try to, get around, but you'll notice with this beautiful wall, right? It's not going to be too easy for the king to come in, right? And if you want, you can make an even bigger wall with So I mean, it's good stuff, right? So white wins relatively easily. You get the king involved, right? This is a simple end game. We'll we'll play through this endgame real quick, just to show how this is done. Right, we'll delete this, and what we'll do is we will copy the FEN, and we are going to post this on the analysis board. Actually, I'm going to put a new analysis board on here. I'm leaving that other analysis board up for a reason. I'll show that to you in a few minutes. Okay, so here we go. This is our analysis board, and we're just going to play from the position, right? Start with the check, right? Check, king takes, check, comes down, check. Okay, he comes over, so I didn't have to defend it right away. I'll push this pawn, that keeps him off there, puts here, right? Here's creating this nice wall, right? And, he can come in here, right? So he can come in, right? But he can't stop me from getting this pawn, right? And that's a problem, right? He can stop, he can stop one, but he's not going to be able to stop them both. So now it's time for me to get okay, that made it a little easier. And now we've got passers, right? The computer did not play this well. Forces him to commit. That was simple. That was, and now. Okay, so I'm just, again, so as you can see, I have to watch out for a stalemate threat now, right? So I mean, I had to watch out for the stalemate threat there real quick, but, super simple, nothing, just to be clear, right? When we were in this position, right, if I had taken here, right, that would have been a stalemate, right? So you gotta avoid that. So that's why. But so instead of, so what did I play? I play over here, right, to go for the mate, right? So he takes, right, or he takes, and then it's like, okay, now I've got just check, and then he comes down. I've got mate. Super simple, right? Okay, so we will turn that off, and let's go back to our study. Again, fairly simple stuff. Okay, so this position is a similar position. This is all about geometry again. It's black to move. So again, pause if you don't want any help, but if you do want some help, keep rolling. So again, what do I notice? I notice that the king is vulnerable. I notice there are a lot of pieces bearing down in this position, and that is the key, right? Like the white's king is not safe, and that's why there's a tactic available. And the answer is rook h1, right? And why? Because this is forced. And whenever you can force a king to a square, you look at what else you can do. And hopefully the king knows to go up here instead, because if the king comes here, then he's losing even more, right? So that the knight banded there. So again, for a position like this, right, you see this potential, right? And when you see this potential, right, this is a tactic called attraction. And you just get the attraction, and I'm married, so what do I know about attraction? Just kidding. But again, that's all good, right? That's the solution. Okay, so this is the exciting puzzle. This is the one that I spent 10 minutes on this because it was hard. And the reason why is because the person who created this study for me out of this book, they made a mistake in the setting up of the board. And the board originally looked like this, right? I'm sorry. The board originally looked like this. Now there's a difference between this screen and this screen. And the difference, of course, you probably noticed, is that this has a knight on it. And so I was literally working on this puzzle for minutes, trying to figure out, not on this puzzle, excuse me, on this puzzle for minutes, trying to figure out the solution because I could not find anything. Eventually, what I noticed was that white was already a piece up. So what was the point, right? Like all you have to do is trade. Like there's no point in not trading when you're a piece up like this. Uh, so what I realized is I went back to the book and I looked up the actual puzzle, and there was supposed to be a knight here, and that completely changes the dynamic of this position. So that's a good hint in and of itself. So I'll let you pause and see if you can find the solution. So the solution is knight takes d6. After queen takes, bishop has this beautiful skewer here. Now, the thing was, is I had looked at that when I was looking at it from this position, right? But I realized that that didn't work, and I was perplexed. I was like, what is going on here? And that's why I spent several minutes on this puzzle, just completely perplexed. So it's possible that, and so I ended up like, because I didn't want you guys to watch a video where I was sitting here just for 15 minutes wondering what was going on, that's why I ended up restarting the video. So if there's a puzzle where I can't figure it out for 10 minutes at a time, I'm not going to restart again. So if that happens, it's because maybe the puzzle is badly written or not written correctly. Okay. All right. So this is a beautiful forced combination. Whenever you're looking at tactics, important thing to remember is look for a weakened or stalemated king. This is a stalemated king. What does that mean? He has no legal move here, and these squares are already covered by the rook. What that means is any check that I can give to that king is a mate. Now, do I see a check I can give? Yes, right? I see this check. Now, what this does is it forces the rook to take, right? Like that move is forced. Although I suppose you could also play queen here, but then the queen just captures there and mates. But the thing is, by doing that, though, the rook abandons his coverage of the back rank. So having seen that, with all those hints, you should be able to solve this puzzle fairly easily. Go ahead and pause, and then we'll show the solution. Okay, so what is it? It's queen takes knight, right? This is forced, mate, right? Or, if the person wanted to be extra artistic, wanted to go down in flames, right? It's mate in two. Or if you wanted to be super fancy, mate in three, right? Although you could, sometimes I like to mate with a rook just because, why not? It's more fun. But that, again, fairly simple, fairly straightforward. Okay, black to move. Okay. All right, what am I looking at? Okay, I'm looking at a position where I might be able to win. I mean, it looks like I can win a pawn. I don't see much else here. I'm trying to see if there's something else I'm supposed to see. Um, I mean, if there were a way, if there were a way to, if there were a way to take here, there's a fork here, but that's guarded by the bishop, so it's not going to be that. No, I think this is pretty simple, right? This is just a simple puzzle to win a pawn. It's knight takes. I don't see anything better. After queen takes check, king comes up, and I don't think, I mean, you still have to worry about guarding the pawn here. You don't have anything. You don't have anything immediate or forcing, but hey, you now have the outside passer. That should be enough. Between two masters, that should be enough to really put serious pressure on the opponent. So that's very good stuff. All right, black to move again. Once again, I'm seeing all this potential forking action. We see that there is a mate in one possibility here, but we see there are two defenders on G2. But that is a busy square. But that is also the fact you've got this capture, and this is also on the square, right? So, you know, it seems to me that this is a fairly simple puzzle, right? It's just rook takes. Now, again, the king does not have to. Oh no, the king does have to capture, right? This is the only legal move, and then you just slide right into mate, right? Man, isn't it odd how quickly it falls apart? Okay, white to move. Oh yeah, it's another one of those. It's another one of those math ones, right? Or one of those geometry ones. See this, right? It's that simple. Rook sacks, right? You either have to let him have it. I mean, because if you let him have it, right, and you can just move over, right, and uh, that's fine, right, and then you just start eating at pawns, right. The rook can't check here because the knight's covering it. This is really good coverage here. If he comes down here, you just trade rooks, right? So, but what does he do if he takes it? Which seems to be a more likely scenario. Rook takes f7, king takes f7, and then knight check fork. And if you take it back with the rook, of course, you lose your other piece. White is now up a whole piece, and we are rocking and rolling. So it is. Okay. How long are we into this? We're now 17 minutes. Okay. All right, black to move. That makes sense. Um, this is a crazy one. Okay, I see the point of the puzzle. I'll give you a hint. The point of the puzzle is to take advantage of kind of a weird back rank situation. Right now, it's not really a back rank situation, but you see because the bishop creates these covered areas that the king is potentially mated on the h file. Right, if you were able to get rid of this pawn and get a rook here. Now, what makes this an interesting position is the fact that the queen can interpose. Right. So, for example, if you tried this and this, then the queen can interpose, right? So that does not itself seem to be the move. Although, if you go here, and then he takes here, and then you take here, and he takes here, I mean, black is better, right? But black isn't great, right? That's not enough, okay? So the real question is, what can you do to make this better, right? Um, how can you make this more workable? Well, you have this beautiful check here, right? And after the beautiful check, right, then you have this whole other situation where now this no longer can come over, right? And you can't do this because then the queen will still be able to interpose, right? So having said all that, I've basically given you the solution if you care to find it. Uh, you just have to see the difference in the position. So go ahead and pause, and we'll take a look. All right, so here is the initial move. All right, this blocks the queen's access to this, and that's why the move is here. Boom. Right, this is the key. Beautiful. All right, white to move. Man, I just love this sacrifice, but there's no way that's it because I can't get anything up there in time. So it's not enough. I see a fork. I see a mate in one fret, but that's fairly easily countered. Doesn't seem to be the move. This is white to move, so what else do we have here? I mean, there is this, which is a double fork. The bishop takes, goes over. I just I don't know if this is enough. I mean, how can this be defended against? It looks like it can be defended against, right? Because of this. So I I don't think I've found it yet. There's probably something now. Again, I have to be careful because there may be something wrong with this image, and I'm going to actually check because you know that happened to me previously. I do not want to have this happen again. Okay, it appears to me, looking at the image, that the puzzle is correctly constructed. So it's not that. That's the issue. Is not the. So I'm trying to think about this, and now I see it. Right, I see it now. So you win a pawn. If he goes here, you come back, and then you are threatening mate here, right? And that's then he has to come down and to avoid the mate, and then you just win a pawn and you're okay. But the key is what happens if he takes it, right? Kabang. That's the thing. So very cool, very cool. So, all right. Sorry about that. Okay. So okay. White to move. This is probably the simplest one I've ever seen. You can't take it. You can't abandon the square. So white wins a pawn and possibly a lot more. Super simple. So sorry if I didn't give you a chance to solve it. Give you a chance to solve this one. Black to move. This is interesting. This is really interesting, and I love this puzzle. Okay. Um, it looks like it's like a perfect queen sack opportunity. This could be like the most beautiful queen sacrifice I've ever seen. Check, and there's nowhere to go except to take it. And then you promote into a double check, and you can't stop at all. This is probably the coolest chess puzzle I've ever seen, right? You then promote into a double check, uh, a double check, because this would be, you can stop this, but you can't, or you can stop this, but you can't stop them both simultaneously. That is just fabulous. That's got to be cool, one of the coolest puzzles I've ever seen. All right, white to play. Um, I mean, so this doesn't even seem right because it seems a little too obvious. What is this, 51? We're on 51? 52, okay, so we're on 52. I'm just gonna double check this is the right one because this just doesn't seem like it should be the way it is because it's just too easy. Okay, all right, so I now see why it is the way it is, right? Why is this the way it is? Well, it's simple because according to the motion, you can't actually, right? Like you don't actually win material, right? If this queen were safe, like so for example, if the queen were here, then you just trade off, right? You just trade off the material and you win the queen. But now I'm noticing, okay, the queen's simultaneously under attack, and you have the problem of the fact that the rook is being hit. But the answer is simple. This is a very simple solution, and that is simply to take it, right? You can take the pawn. Why can you take the pawn? Because the queen can't take it and abandon the defense of the square. And if he tries to come here, guess what? You just check, and now this is forced. And actually, it's not. And then, yeah, check. And then if he takes it this way, right? When you're already up a knight, though, it seems almost a little cheap. But yeah, I'm pretty sure this is it, right? What's he gonna do, right? And this, I believe, is the best defense. And the best response is simply to check. So. All right. Okay, black to move. All right, I'm seeing a lot here. I'm seeing, I think this is only a winning a pawn scenario. Rook takes, bishop takes, fork. Can't save them both, but he can go here, right? And you need to take it, so I guess you can save the pawn. So I guess this is why black is winning, but it's still, it's not a lot of advantage, but it's enough. White to move. Go ahead and pause. What a strange position this is. What in the world do you try to gain here? Oh, okay. Simple. Sorry. Right here. Right. Capture with the exchange. Beautiful. What are we? Almost 30 minutes in? Okay. Well, hopefully we can get through the rest of the puzzles in 10 minutes. Let's see if we can do it. Okay, so that is interesting. Okay, so I'm seeing a lot of cool stuff here. I'm seeing this potential for a mate, but this is guarded by here. I see this potential check, but then the bishop can come up. So there's a lot going on. Yeah, this is the key. This deflection does not have to work that way. The problem is that the bishop can go here and that doesn't force the queen off of the square. So because of that, I'm not sure the answer. If you play here, it doesn't change the fact that this is still being covered, and that's not a. So there's clearly something different here. I mean, you want a pawn here. I mean, maybe it's something simple like that. I don't know. Let's look. What's this? 55? This doesn't seem right. Once again, I'm saying this doesn't seem right when I don't get it right away. But sometimes I'm wondering because. Okay, the puzzle actually does have an error on it. There's supposed to be a black pawn here, but I don't know if that affects the puzzle or not. Because that may not even affect things. I mean, this is an interesting move. Um, because you can then threaten to go here. I don't know. This is an interesting position. Also, this move is a nice move. Threatens this trade of queen and bishop for I'm looking for and this is where I'm thinking this black pawn might be important but because how do you defend against this, right? Because all right, so this just for giggles here. Check. I don't know. It's you come down here, he comes here. The open the openness of this position favors the queen, but I don't know. I don't trust this though because of the okay. Yeah, I'm wondering if this black pawn here makes any difference in the puzzle. I don't know. Something like this doesn't work either because after this, you don't have any follow up, right? Like you can't. All right, I am admitting defeat on this one. Let's see what the let's actually see what the thing is. I'm sorry, I hate it when I do this to you guys because I'm supposed to help you through these puzzles, and I like to think that I can do these because these are supposed to be all simple warm up puzzles. So I don't know why I can't get it. It says mate in two, rook d8. Oh, that's the key. Well, it wasn't the pawn, right? It was the fact that I did not see the critical aspect of the puzzle. That is a really, really important thing to see. This, right, if the queen takes, you have this mate as I saw. So that was correct. But what I didn't see was by doing this, removes the guard on c8. That is really pretty, and I missed it, right? That was actually, it was a simple mate in two, but that was actually really cool how you have to see something like that. All right, so I'm seeing lots of stuff here. Uh, First of all, I'm wondering if there's a queen sack, right? Like, so queen sack, king takes, check, right? Does this do anything? I don't believe it does. I don't think this is enough, clearly, right? But then the question becomes, what if you go the other way, right? Threatens mate, right? Threatens the queen, right? So you have to take it. But then you've got to check. And guess what? Then you have to come over. And now you have a problem. Now, the good thing for white is that he can't go here in one move because, or he can't come here in one move, but you can come here in one move, and that's ball game. Sometimes you just got to run through your reads, as Liam would say. All right, white to move. I would bet this is a knight puzzle. Uh, I mean, so we see this, right? We see hit, hit, but we also see two defenders. But two defenders becomes a one defender after this. But that doesn't solve it because I mean, they can still you can try to move out of the way of this, right? Uh, so maybe that's it. Maybe it's just winning a pawn. But all right. So let's see if there's something here I'm not seeing. So check, check. Yeah, it doesn't seem like that is. So I think it seems to me that this is all about. It seems to me this is all about just winning this pawn and then removing one of the defenders on this, and then because he can come up here and win it, but that doesn't help, right? So I'm curious if I'm right about this because I mean I see. All right, let's see. See if I haven't totally disappointed you. Yep, yep. Bishop takes f7. Okay, glad that was not me letting you down. Okay, let's almost at 40 minutes. So let's see if we can move it along. 58. White to move. Oh my. All right, so black to move is a very serious problem, right? Like there is uh, back rank tactics, although the queen can come back, so it's not actually the end of the world. But now we have to look at this exposed king. Well, the most interesting move to look at is this one because it is a drawing move. And now can you see a move that forces things? And the answer is yes, right? If you can see from here, like I have to admit, I could not see the solution from here, but I can see the solution after I put the rook here. So I'll give you that hint. pause it and see if you can solve the rest. Okay, so here's the answer. If you're ready. Check. He goes back. Check. Right? This is the key, because now he has to come back here, and now check. Boom, shot block. White to play. Well, there's a lot to be potentially worried about here. If you're white. If you go here, you're setting up a potential back rank mate here. But that is not forcing enough, right? You have to be more forcing. So it's not h6, but it's cooler than that actually. So pause and then solve. Okay, if you're ready, queen d8. What are you doing? He has an escape route, but not for long, right? This is the key idea. You force him into the square, and then you can poach him there. All right. 60. All right. So this one, right, once again, we see the king is in pretty dire straits. Oh, well, both kings are looking in pretty dire straits. There are a lot of attackers on both sides. So what do? Oh, it's simple. This is a simple one. Queen attack, right? Because either you give the rook up, but if you take it, bang. White to play. Okay, so you can't play queen takes pawn, because if you play queen takes pawn, then queen takes pawn mate. So that doesn't work. Bronstein Koblenz, and it is white to move. So I am not surprised the great Bronstein is playing a game this sharp, because that is totally the way Bronstein plays. Oh, it's so beautiful. So beautiful. Right? Threatens the fork. And if take, back rank mate. So beautiful. Now let's see what's Black's best response is though. I think Black's best response is to sack, right? It takes it, takes it, takes it, takes it, and you no longer have a back rank, and now it's two rooks versus rook bishop. Is white still ahead? Absolutely, but at least black isn't as bad as he might have been. And then of course you have this nice move which ties which ties it down a bit. King goes here, all right, to defend, win this pawn. Check. Okay, he wins a pawn too, but seems to me though that white's active rooks are going to be decisive though. I think, because that's a very big problem. You can't get out of here. How do you defend this piece, right? So even with black's best defense, right? White to move. Lasker Steinitz. Wow, Moscow, 1896. This would have been their second world championship match, I believe. So this would have been where Steinitz was the challenger. He had lost it to Lasker at this point. So just looking at sacks, right? That doesn't seem to do anything. I mean, I guess it does offer you this, because you can't defend it. I mean, I guess you can't defend it in the bishop, right? Because you have to like. Well, I guess you could try. That doesn't seem to, but that can't be it, right? And you have this big problem of the fact that you know black's hitting this, you hit this, it takes the pawn back, and then better drawing chances. I mean, here he's defending it now. He can't actually take it. It's double defended. And I don't think that this is drawable. I mean, I'm curious. Oh, yeah, it's not drawable because he doesn't actually. So, okay, so here, defends it. How's he going to move off of it? And now this is now here. I think this is a more complicated position than I'm giving it credit for. This position also puts him in a very difficult spot. I mean, he can try to take it, but it's pinned now. Just come out. Endgame stuff is really. I mean, I wouldn't call this an endgame puzzle, but it seems to me the move is here. Takes, check. There's no way out. If he does, check. This is forced. Check. And the rook falls for knight. So I think that's the solution. I think this is the solution because of everything that comes. Right? Now, he can choose to take this, but then you still have this, and then you'll so. I wonder if he resigned at this move. I don't think he did. At least I hope so. Black to move. Certainly hope so, considering that, you know. Okay, so obviously the knight's hitting this queen. That's not good. There's a lot going on in this puzzle. Goodness gracious, 6 alive. Why is there a lot going on in this puzzle? Well, not only are there a lot of threats, but this is going here, but it's also defending here, right? So, for example, if you were to try something like this, you have this, and I don't see anything to mitigate that at all. So, yeah, that's a problem. One of the things I hate about some of these puzzles is just look how underdeveloped a lot of these old games are. I mean, like, why is this guy not have never developed his dark side bishop? Goodness gracious. I mean, and it's not like this works, because hey, well, okay, maybe you successfully trade some material, but I mean, you just take this. I mean, like, what in the world? Like, there's no. That's not that's not the solution. Okay. Yeah, this is a puzzle, truly. Um, this looks pretty strong, but it's not correct. Let me just double check this puzzle because this one looks like it might be off. This one's 63. Am I missing something? Or is this puzzle missing something? No, it appears to be accurate. So they haven't messed it up. I mean, is there a check that I'm supposed to find? There's some obvious checks. Like this is an obvious check, right? Um, and if it comes here, uh, then this is an obvious check. And then if it comes down, then this is an obvious check. Right? But the real question is, what if it takes it? It comes up. Check and mate. Wow, beautiful. Hard to see. Yeah, hard to see. Last one. White to move. This one actually was a Palliser. And it's white to move. So this one was actually done to the author. So this is cool. I think this is a really simple one. I think it's just this. How are you going to address it? Right? What do you do? There are no good checks, right? You can take the knight, but how do you stop? How do you stop this? There's just no way. I mean, all of the different, I mean, okay, there is a way to try, right? That is a way to try. So that is maybe the first defense. So maybe it's wrong. Maybe it's not correct. But oh, but then you got this. Oh man, yeah. I think that's ball game. That's so. I think for this, you know, the key you need to see this, and then you need to see this, and then you need to see this. Let's test them on the engine to see if I was right. I have a feeling that it was, but let's find out for sure. Yeah. Boom. Forced. Skadoosh. Right. And you can try. Like there are things to do, but yeah, there's nothing lasting though. Wow. Interesting. Like you can still force the queen off, but this is still lost. All right. Well, that's the session for the guy that we've gotten through the first study of complete chess workout. We got through 64 puzzles in a few days. It took us, 3 hours in total, but they're just warm ups. But hopefully, you're getting something out of it, and I'll talk to you guys later.